Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the ArchCast once again, where I have good news to all of our Jewish listeners. The Holocaust has been narrowly averted, as Kanye West has declared that he no longer hates Jewish people. Clap, 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 clap.
I saw that, yes. So the possible future president of the United States has came out and said that he's not a hateful bigot.
This is very good. This is very good.
How does it work? Do we need confirmation from the ADL, or is it just like him saying it makes it true?
No, I'm sure it's true now. You gotta remember, though, he's not a black man anymore, so we might need some sort of confirmation as he is officially white now.
What was that? Because I didn't hear the conversations about his pedigree, his racial heritage.
Yeah, you see, he's anti-black, mostly, so, by the modern-day definition, I suppose that just basically makes him a white supremacist.
Oh, I see. So what did he say? Why is he all of a sudden having this change of heart?
Well, apparently he was watching a movie called 21 Jump Street. I have no idea what this is.
Let me Google it. Hold on. 21 Jump Street?
Well, let's see. It looks like some sort of real hard old school cringe.
When Cop Schmidt, Jonah Hill, and Jenko joined the secret Jump Street unit, they used their youthful appearances to go undercover as high school students. They traded their guns and badges for backpacks and set out to shut down a dangerous drug ring. But as the time goes on, Schmidt and Jenko discover that high school is nothing like it was a few years earlier. And what's more, they must again confront the teenage terror and anxiety as they thought they had left behind.
Yep, that certainly sounds like some good old-fashioned cringe.
When was it made? Hold on, it's so fucking good.
Let's see here. 2012.
Ah, yes, back in the time when they actually made movies for fun.
Yeah, 2012, like, that's prehistoric at this point. Like, that was the before time, before we knew what we knew today.
Before the Dark Age.
This really does look like some pretty hard cringe, too. Like, this looks like the kind of thing that would actually hurt a little bit to watch.
Looks like the thing that they would make in South Korea right now.
Not incorrect. The South Koreans have a very weird way of making TVs. Have you watched, like, South Korean dramas?
I watched South Korean horror. Like, some of them are really good. Like The Kingdom, Sweet Home. There's a lot of them on Netflix. Train to Busan.
Oh, Busan. That, like, the first one, mind you, the others are shit. But Train to Busan is, like, the first good zombie movie I've seen in decades.
That is correct, yes. And it's made by South Koreans.
So, let's see here for the uninformed in the audience. Train to Busan, or Busan, I don't even know. It's Korean.
Train to Busan.
It is an excellent zombie movie, and it does everything that a zombie movie should without really falling prey to the usual cliches of a zombie movie. It's a fantastic watch.
Yes, fully recommend it.
One of the things that I would warn for, though, is that the Koreans have a very different view of entertainment than we do, for better and worse. One of the shows I recently watched was really good, was Detective Doberman, I think. No, Military Prosecutor Doberman it translates into.
I heard about that, yes.
Yes, the Koreans, how do I put it? In Korea, it's kind of a militarized society in many ways, because everybody's got to go through the service period, and it is strict as hell, and there's a lot of bullying, and it's apparently just absolutely awful.
Sounds like Eastern Europe.
Yeah, kinda. And it's like, this show, it does something a Western show no longer does. Like, it displays awful shit. Like, in this one, a nice guy character turns into just a brutal serial killer because of how far he's pushed. And at the same time, a guy who is introduced as the worst type of human being, an absolute unforgivable twat, turns into a decent human being after going through some shit. You know, it has character development, changes, growth.
Like Jaime Lannister.
Yeah, actually, genuinely.
Yeah.
It's weird. We don't get that much here in the West anymore.
Oh, that's why Game of Thrones was so good, because it actually did that. No one else does it.
It had one of the few ones that actually did that, yeah. But at the same time, Koreans also have this weird sense of humor. Like, they will... You know how in old movies, you had those random sound effects, like, whoop, that was supposed to be, like, funny?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, like when somebody slips on a banana peel, and there's like a whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
Koreans still do that.
Oh god, you know, I watched RoboCop 2 quite recently, and they do that as well.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
they have a robot. Yeah, like RoboCop 2 would be an excellent movie. They didn't do the whoop 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 whoop.
It is so weird.
Yeah, but still, it's good. I mean, it's a lot better than Western entertainment.
Absolutely. And they've made some incredibly good action and war movies as well, which are just amazing, because we don't make those. Like, we don't make war stuff in the West anymore, like, at all.
Wasn't it the Tiger Ace, or what is it called? The one with the tank. I think that's the last one.
Fury? Yeah, Fury was okay.
Yeah.
Fury, when was Fury from? Fury? 2014. Fuck me.
Yeah. But I thought it was good. I mean, some people would complain about the way that the tank was driven, and it's like, oh, well, a tank would never do that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a movie. It's supposed to elicit emotions. It's not supposed to realistically simulate a battle.
Yeah, no, Fury was pretty damn good. And it was mostly relatively accurate. It had the grit and the dirt feel, you know? And sure, like, 3 Shermans driving across an open field in the face of, like, 3 75mm packs would not work out well, but it's a movie, as you say.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it displayed the horrors of war. Like, there wasn't good guys and bad guys. You know, the Americans were doing shit as well.
Yep. I did hate that they didn't shoot Shia LaBeouf at the end, though. You know, when the German looks under the tank and he's like, oh, it's just a Shia LaBeouf. It'd be cruel to kill him.
You know, that actually did happen. Like, for example, my grandfather, who fought at first on behalf of the Nazis, he actually said that there were many soldiers that refused to kill or actually shoot at the end.
I'm sure they were, but, like, the entire story sets these guys up like, this is a veteran formation that coming from the Eastern Front, they're, like, full-on Waffen-SS guys, like, these are the hardest, most brutal motherfuckers in the entire German Reich at this point. Like, and after they've lost that many Kameraden to this tank, he would not bend over and go like, "Oh, he looks like a baby. I can't shoot him." No, he'd drag him out there and probably nail his testicles to a tree.
Probably, but to be fair, the guy that did see him was pretty young as well. I think like that was like what the movie was trying to convey, is that that there were like young innocent people, and the one that saw him was just like the guy used to be at the beginning of the movie.
Maybe, but
you're right. You're right. Yeah, like in real life, they would have dragged him out. I do agree with that.
WMC.
Like after...
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
Okay.
No, you go on.
WMC Wolverine says, howdy out, sadly not able to watch the stream this time due to working night shift. Aw. But I'd like you to know, stay awesome and breathe the kibs. Thank you very much, sir. And Mark Deshamed also sends in a second super chat, says, any chance we could have Gamza on? When also about 10th edition, if they made the Goddess Empress of Woman Plus, his reply was only a strong and independent woman who can impregnate the Emperor. I mean, that's true, I guess.
Doesn't the Emperor, like, now have other emperors? Because I looked at the lore, and apparently, like, he's not the only one. Like, there's others, but they just don't care.
Perpetuals. Yeah, there are other perpetuals, but there is, luckily, only one emperor still.
The perpetuals. I have a confession to make in front of you and the chat.
I see.
Yeah, I played Diablo 4, and I kind of liked it.
Wow, you have very low standards.
It's, I mean, okay, the characters, very ugly, right? the story not that interesting, and I really hate like when you're in the world and you're finally finding an interesting boss and you're having a difficult battle, and then like all of a sudden like five other guys come and you're like just sitting there, like you don't have to do anything. Um, but it does have like the feel of Diablo. It's more Diablo than Diablo 3, I would say.
It's more than Diablo 3, at least, yes.
Yes. The downside, it looks like a phone game.
Yes.
It's not a $70 game, definitely.
It
right?
isn't. And it's certainly not a
it-
$70 game with microtransactions.
Absolutely not. And it has the UI from Diablo Immortal. The animations and everything else are very poorly done. But you know, if this was like a $30 game, it would have been a good game.
Yes, I can agree to that. Oh, did you look at the Necromancer class?
No, because the skeletons look like shit. I was like, I looked at you playing it, and I was like, holy shit, this is like a phone game. This is like literally like a phone game.
The Necromancer is flat as a board. Does not. It doesn't go far enough. Like, she has literally no tits. She is just a complete anthropomorphized boy, basically.
I did say something about this on Twitter. Hold on, because it was so good that I'm going to fart sniff and repeat it here. I did say that Diablo is struggling really hard in order to push the idea that flood justice is justice, and that they believe that women plus sell better than legacy women.
There you go. I mean, well, the druid is just fat, just fat.
But did you notice that when you go into the character big screen, literally all the characters are African Americans?
It's random. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Like, every time it generates them, but it keeps some of them from your own character roster.
You say that, but like I've been doing it like 5 times, and every single time I got diversity, which by the way is not a problem, but it's like so in your face. It's like the game trying to say, look how progressive we are. Look how progressive we are. Look.
It's a Blizzard game
look
in the
what
modern year.
Yes, from a company that is not going to get away from the accusations of sexual harassment for at least a decade.
Ooh, okay. Speaking of sexually harassing women, one of my favorite pastimes as well, we have an interesting little, where was it? Here we go. Yes, the first proper topic of the day that isn't Korean zombie movies, I suppose. Chris Avellone? Bologna? I'm actually unsure how to pronounce his name.
I don't know either. I thought it's the Thor guy, but then Avalon, I don't know.
No, like he's got a little bit of a history in gaming. So he's worked on quite a lot of big role playing games. Like he worked on Planescape Torment, the Fallout series, pre Bethesda, etc. He was heavily involved in Dungeons and Dragons as well. Wrote several campaigns for the setting. He's been a fairly like sizable name, but in 2020, I believe, he was suddenly out of nowhere accused of having sexually molested a pair of women during a convention somewhere.
Well, yeah, that was the time when feminist groups that wanted power would just accuse powerful individuals from the gaming company so that they could get them fired. It happened.
Much.
Yeah, it happened so many times. Like there were CEOs saying it's like, if you're at a convention, never be alone. Like just always have someone with you. Do not be alone in a room with a woman. Because they would actually do that. Like that was in the papers at one point. Like they would have a pretty lady go to a CEO in a room. They would take pictures and then they would say, "Oh, look, he molested me. He did bad stuff to me."
Yes, because there was a whole reign of terror there for a while. What was it? Oh yes, the rather famous saying by then Vice President Mike Pence saying that he refuses to eat in a room with a woman other than his wife.
Ninja as well refused to play video games with women other than his wife, and that created controversy.
Yes, he did, because then they would cause rumors and speculation and accusations.
Yeah, plus he had a wife.
Yep. No, there was a period there where a lot of people were accused of a lot of shit, and most of it came to nothing, but it was a full-on, full-blown... how do I put it? It was kind of, in many ways, like the last true spasm of cancel culture before it began to wane and lose power?
It was definitely a way to get people fired without them doing anything. Like
It
the
was.
guy who made the voice in XCOM, he had the YouTube channel, right? I think he still does, and he would make like trailers for movies, and he had the voice for XCOM, got accused, and all of a sudden XCOM dropped him. Fire Axis, I believe, was the company. No, 2K, right? Like they made XCOM.
And that was what happened here as well, as he was working on oh god, what was it again? God, what was it? He was working on Dying Light, I think. That zombie game. Yes,
Yeah,
Dying Light 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was working on that, and he, quote-unquote, agreed to end his work, so fired. And he became a persona non grata within the industry after this. He'd also been working on writing stuff for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is now in complete development hell. And Paradox came out and stated that they had rewritten or replaced all of his work. Like, they weren't even asked. They were just like, oh, yeah, no. We've taken care of that mean old man for you.
Kind of like Blizzard with what is it, McCree, right? The character, like they renamed it just because the guy was accused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that seems to now have been settled with a statement by the two parties. Quote, after engaging with Mr. Avellone, we have prepared the following statement. Mr. Avellone never sexually abused either of us. We have no knowledge that he has ever sexually abused any woman. We have no knowledge that Mr. Avellone has ever misused corporate funds. Anything we have previously said or written about Mr. Avellone to the contrary was not our intent. Fat chance.
Yeah, I remember like back then, if you like, there were legitimate people that if you didn't say listen and believe, they would call you a rape apologist.
Yep.
Like, literally, yeah.
Okay, so obviously this is legal ass covering, right? Because they can't admit that they did any of this, because if they do, then they could be sued for defamation and libel, etc. But man, to just like, oh no, we've gone after this guy for like 3 years, but we toots didn't mean to, bruh. It was all misinterpreted.
You think that they would still get in legal trouble, though?
Well, this is the settlement, so it's the way to avoid it. Continuing, we wanted to support women in the industry. In so doing, our words have been misinterpreted to suggest specific allegations of misconduct that were neither expressed nor intended. This is the end of a 3-year court case, too, I want to point out.
I'm so glad I'm not a woman, because with supporters like these, who needs enemies?
Yep. We are passionate about the safety, security, and agency of women, minorities, LGBTQIA, blah, 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 blah.
It's always funny how, like, the entire string has to roll out. You can't just say, we're passionate about women. Like, no.
No.
Let me tell you.
It's because they're laying out who they give a shit about. Because notice, there's no mention of passionate about security of men in there, which is why they've now been, falsely accusing somebody for the last 3 years.
It's also interesting how, like, they keep tying minorities to the LGBT. When you look at what's happening in Uganda, you're like,
And every other community that has seen persecution in the video game industry. Ah, yes, the video game industry, famous for persecuting its employees.
Well, I don't know. I mean, white men are persecuted. Didn't they just persecute a guy, which is why they have the settlement?
True. We believe that Mr. Avellone shares the desire to protect and uplift those communities. I doubt that. And we believe that he deserves a full return to the industry and support him in those endeavors.
Do you understand in just what bad position you would be placed if they would write that about you? It's like, we understand that Arch wants to support the marginalized communities.
It's like, nah, disavow, bro. I would never. So
it's kind of like when someone... Go on.
The claims of the suit, etc., was dismissed with prejudice, so it can't be brought back up again. and the two women have to pay the attorney fee and awarded entered against Miss Avellone in California. So they don't get the original settlement. I think everything is cancelled. Nobody gets anything, as far as I understand. So basically, legally, nothing ever happened.
So Avellone doesn't get his job back, and he doesn't get any money in return?
Yes, like the dude he's still going to be a pariah after this. I doubt he's going to be welcomed back into the community. But at least he didn't have to pay the law attorney fees that they were awarded to these two women after they sued him initially, so.
Well, that's okay. He has to pay his own attorney fees.
Yep, probably.
And not to mention, like, from what I know, talking about this type of thing with other people from the corporate environment, usually, like, if you have an asshole, so I don't know how Avellone is, but, like, you have an asshole, right? And when something like this comes up, it's just a reason to fire them. Because, like, you can fire them for probable cause and not just because they're an asshole. So take that into consideration. But, like, if it's someone that's really, really good, like, for example, James Gunn, right? Like, people in the industry, at least, consider him talented. They will bring him back, like, regardless of the accusations.
I mean, again, if you've got the right friends, you can come back no matter what. But for Chris here, he is going to have a very, very hard time in the mainstream industry. I'd be very surprised if they accept him back.
No, but, like, you have projects. Would you hire him?
Sure, if I needed a writer.
Well, Mr. Chris, you know, guys, you know what to do. Clip it and send it to Chris.
I think he will have a promising future in the independent market. I hope so, yes. But
well, yeah, that's what he should do. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you start going independent again, you're going to sell the game just by your brand name alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you made Planescape, right? You made Fallout. Like, anything you touch is going to be bought just because you're on the project.
Yep. I think he, well, I hope he lands on his feet at the very least, because at least now it is over for the time being, until he's accused again, I suppose.
Does that ever happen, like getting twice the accusations?
I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. Okay, a few more superchats have rolled in, so let's get them out of the way too. Karen Nom says, en kommentar til forrige ArchCast. I Norge sverger soldater til kong Harald V høyeste befal I Norge. Oh, well, thank you very much for the clarification. We have confirmed that the king is, in fact, the chief of the army in Norway.
Oh.
It's good to know.
Did you know that the creator of Velma just got decorated by Joe Biden?
Oh, not, that's good. That's a good you mentioned. So, where was it? Minda Kaling was her name, wasn't it?
Yeah, I do not remember their names, but...
Kaling. Because it wasn't just an award either.
It's like the highest prestige that a writer can possibly get in the United States.
Oh, not just a writer either. Like it's like an art thing. Let me see. There we go. Yes. So here we are. Biden to award Bruce Springsteen Mindy Kaling and Amy Times Arts and Humanities medals. So her contribution with Velma and The Office, I guess, is equal to that of Bruce Springsteen in popular culture.
Apparently, they don't even say why she's getting it. It's like the most vague shit. It's like uplifting the voices, you know, like that type of stuff. What are the voices, Arch? Because like they keep getting uplifted every fucking year.
Let's see. Let's see. Is there any info on this? National Humanities President Award, Arts and Humanities Medal. I was kind of hoping there might be like a wiki page for this thing, like if it means anything or.
It's not important, Todd. No one gives a shit. Like after you give a prize, an award to such a person, and it's such a vague reason, like uplifting the voices. It's like, all right, well, the prize is useless. It's kind of like a New York Times bestseller. Like if you ever go buy books, if you see New York Times bestseller after 2016, stay away from that book. Like it's garbage.
Well,
I am saving you time and money.
I mean, it's a PR stunt for Biden to be seen with an appropriate number of brown people.
Yes. Like literally, they go in and talk about the vice president. It's like, the vice president is brown and her mother was immigrants. And I'm like,
It's like brown,
what does
brown,
this
brown,
yes, what does this have to
brown,
do with Velma though?
brown.
Brown.
That is literally pretty much the thing. You
Yeah.
have been recognized as being brown in America. Here, have a gold medal.
It's kind of like the aristocracy, is it? Like she has noble blood. Oh, the blood of the dragon runs through her veins.
It's like, let's see here. Here we have President Biden with a woman of some sort who is taking off her top, I guess. It's like, you got to show that medal off because it's not big enough.
It's interesting because she hates white people. Like if you look at Velma, almost every single frame, Velma complains about cisgender straight white men, and here you have a cisgender straight white man giving her the medal.
Yes, but this is a cisgendered straight white man giving her an enormous gold medallion. Like, hate has its limits, V, and this is one of them.
Do you think she can sleep at night knowing she got that? Holy shit.
I'm sure that in her hearts of heart, she believes deeply she deserved that thing. Very much so.
Hold on, I just got the image that you're displaying. Wasn't she supposed to be brown?
Oh, the first one is Mindy Kaling. I think the second one is.
Oh, yeah, like because this is not the creator of Velma.
No, the one that looks like Wilma is the creator of Wilma.
Well, yeah, because it's the self-insert. But what the fuck did she create? Like the one that you're showing right now?
Bloody no. I'm sure she created something.
Well, these are very important people, Arch. You're going to study about them in the history books.
Well, you've also got, like, Cherokee Black Grandma here. I'm putting in the link channel to you so you can see them.
Do you know that this is this is the first ever, Arch, the first ever brown woman to win this award? Did you know that?
Well, she has good company, as there was, like, 7 other brown women who won it at the same time, I guess.
It shows to other people that brown people can create, and I'm thinking like, wow, did you not know that Bollywood exists?
That's true, although Bollywood, like, we talked about how weird Korean entertainment could be. It's got nothing on like, Indian entertainment.
Like, I would tell you a couple of things, but I think that they're all, like, copyright claimed. But like, if I were to show you, like, some clips from Bollywood movies, I will get you into Bollywood movies. Like, you just watch it, unable to look away.
Oh, there was one, what was it? So, you've watched Rome, the TV series, right?
Yes, yeah.
You remember Titus Pullo?
Vaguely.
He was the guy who was friends with Lucius Varenus, the short, cropped-headed guy, like, short hair?
Oh, yeah. Naruhodo.
Yes. He was in a Bollywood movie I saw recently. And he's a British officer, like a Lord Protector of India or something like that. And his wife decides to just steal a little Indian child, because, that's what you do.
Right. Yeah, like that's what British people did, yeah.
Yes, that's just kind of what you do on there. And
yeah.
The little child's mother runs after them, and catches up to the car because, she's afraid of her daughter, so she runs faster than car, as is only natural. And she gets in front of the car. And she's like, please, white woman, leave me my child. Very, very touching. And, oh god, here's a brilliant picture of him. All right, I'll put that in there. All right, so that's Titus Pullo's character. He looks very British and evil.
All right, so like the woman is in front of the car.
Yep, and an Indian officer who's loyal to Titus Pullo comes up and puts a gun to her head, like, how dare you impede the progress of the white people, woman, and is about to pull the trigger. And Titus Pullo steps up and, like, slaps his hand away, like, what are you doing, man? You about to shoot that woman? And you're like, damn, Titus Pullo saving the brown girl. He's not a racist. And he goes like, do you have any idea how expensive that bullet is? It costs £1 sterling. You beat that woman to death like a good soldier.
Really? Is that in the movie?
Yes.
I remember like another one. I saw it on Facebook back when Facebook was still popular. They shoot the girl with a sniper rifle in her head, right? So like imagine this, right? And she's got like this tiny bullet hole, but like she's still alive, right? And she's with her lover, and they try to take her to the hospital, and they like watch like their wedding, and they watch like clips together. And as they go to the hospital, like he knows she's going to die, right? But like this is for like 5 minutes, and she's got like this sniper bullet wound in her head, and this is Bollywood.
Oh yeah. Like Bollywood takes everything and just it goes to the point of no return, and then it just flies past it at Mach 11.
Well, I guess it's like the anime of movies, right? Because like anime looks over the top. Anime doesn't try to convey realism, but it tries to convey real human emotions. And I
Yes.
think Bollywood tries the same, right? But it does it, I guess, like with a lot of facial shots by moving from character to character with dramatic music in the background.
Yeah. Bollywood does a lot of that, and the cinematography and the visuals are like it's Fist of the North Star levels. It is so far over the top you can't even see the bar anymore.
It's not the North Star. That is actually a really good comparison. Yes.
It is kind of beautiful. Like he even has a little speech about why the bullet is so expensive. It's like it's beautiful. There's even a point where he holds a little girl hostage with a giant Lee Enfield, which he wields single-handed. It's like it's great.
But like, it's kind of like Lone Wolf from China, right? Like Wolf Warrior. What did they call it?
Have you watched like some Chinese world like war movies?
It's like white man bad, right? China
Yes.
good. Like you had these two groups in Africa that were about to fight, and then you have like they take a Chinese flag and they put it on a jeep and they walk through the middle of the two guys that were about to fight. And it's like, oh no, like stop fighting! The Chinese are here.
The some of the Chinese Korean war movies are fucking brilliant. Like they are so good because it's like watching the anime of the war. It really is. Like everything is absurd. Like there's a little pilot, and he's American pilot, and he's wearing a cowboy hat, and as he bombs the Chinese, he's praying to God like, God send them yellow little people to heaven or something. It is
Really?
Oh yes, yes. It's great. It's actually great.
We should do a watch along on your Discord server once.
I am planning to do some of that with Kib. We're planning a watch-along series of some movies, and I've definitely got some great Chinese propaganda movies on the list. They are just fantastic.
It's interesting because Chinese people actually love them.
Oh yes,
it's here
kinda,
in the West. Yeah, go on.
Like you're watching them and you're thinking to yourself, "Holy shit! Like 2 billion people think this is history."
Yeah, because like here in the West, we're like, Fury, a German, a Sherman tank would never go in a field against 3 AT guns. And meanwhile in China,
like one dude charges the entire American lines, machine guns going left and forth, and he's like, "Well, I guess I have to beat them to death with a spade." It's
charges the American lines.
It's brilliant.
I wonder, like, if China would make, in the future, a movie about the Ukrainian conflict. Like, how would that end up?
I don't know. Who would? I guess the Russians would be the good guys.
The Russians, yes, like NATO. It would be the evil force.
Now, that's not to say that all the Chinese movies are just crazy. Red Cliff, which was another pair of Chinese movies about the Warring States period. Really good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah, I never seen it, but I do believe it.
It's almost the Lord of the Rings of China, like epic scale stuff. It is pretty cool.
Didn't the Russians try to make like a Marvel movie?
Didn't they?
Yeah, like they had one guy that teleported all over the place and had 2 knives. It looked good in the trailer, but apparently the movie was shit.
Oh, Oh, surprise, surprise, I guess.
Kind of weird though. Like Russia used to be good at making movies.
Well,
Because I was
sort of.
under the Iron Curtain. Like I was forced to see them. Like there was nothing else to watch.
Some more super chats. Drivey says, I like the new All Quiet on the Western Front, but I prefer the 1979 version. Only seen parts of the original 1931 version, never read the books. Also, Greyhound was a pretty decent war film. Did you see the new All Quiet on the Western Front?
I did not.
It's okay. Like it's made by Netflix, but it's not woke, at least, I'll say that much. But it doesn't take enough time, in my opinion, to truly flesh out all of the characters. Because All Quiet on the Western Front is a story about horrible war is. It definitely is, and they focus a lot on that. But it's also a story about how war changes people. Again, Himmelsdorf starts out like an absolute asshole, and at the end of the movie, he's actually a pretty good guy because he's been changed by the military and by the conflict, which they completely skipped out on Netflix because, you know, you can't have redemption arcs anymore.
There's also that scene with the professor, which is encouraging young men to sign up for the war, and then like they come back and they have a talk with him.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have that in the new movie?
I don't think so. They have the speech where he encourages them, but not the aftermath, I think.
Yeah, because that was really powerful, right? Like they went back to his teacher. It's like, oh yeah, remember that guy? Yeah, he's dead. He listened to, he's dead. And this guy, yeah, like he lost his eye.
Yep.
And you can see that the teacher reacts like a normal human when presented with something that completely challenges his belief system, which is shuts down and puts them on mental block.
Hello, Dev in chat. Little short fan otaku.
Hello, Dev.
And Greyhound was not bad. It wasn't amazing, but it was not bad. And it's a rarity in that it presents you with a faithful, believing Christian captain who is just a good guy. Like, he doesn't have some secret fetish where he beats children in his basement or something. He doesn't hit his subordinates. He's just the hero, which is rare.
It is rare, and you know, I'm already interested in seeing movies where the villain is just like normal, especially if it's like a war movie, right? Like usually when you have, I don't know, like a World War II movie, like the German officer has to be comically evil. Like he can't just be a German officer. He has to, as you said, like beat up children and stuff.
Yep. I did dislike the way they showed like the combat between the submarines and the destroyers because it was stupid. Like the submarines went up to the surface, like, we'll use our guns on the Americans. Like, okay.
They always do that, don't they? I think it's because they want to have the dramatic shot.
Probably.
Like if it's just historical, then it's boring to watch. Because like historical would be, it's like, okay, well, there's a ship, blip, blip. Okay, fire the torpedo. Okay, he's dead.
Drive also says the sad death of the tomboy in the modern era.
It is, isn't it? So there was a clinic in the UK, which the NHS, I believe, ran an introspect on it, and they shut it down. Because like what they would do is like the moment they would find the girl that wasn't playing with dolls, it's like, you must be transgender.
Yes, because right, here's the thing. Tomboy in Western entertainment is, like I put on the link channel, is this here. Like, just... like, you have to do a double take. Like, okay, are you female? Are you male? What are you? Not very interesting at all, in the slightest. And then you've got, like, tomboys in anime, which are immediately identifiable as female. It's an aesthetic to them.
We all had a colleague, you know, when we grew up, and she had large tits. She was like one of the guys. I mean, yeah, exactly. But like I seen tomboys that look 100% feminine, but you know, they like stuff that guys do. Like they like to do a lot of workout. They like to hang around with the guys. They play video games, right? Like you do have those types of girls.
In fact, isn't there? Yes, there is. There's a anime being made of a famous tomboy manga now, isn't it? Tomoe wa onna no ko.
Unano.
Onanoko, I think is the pronunciation. I understand Jap, but I can't pronounce it worth shit.
Isn't Tanya the evil a tomboy?
Well, Tanya the Evil is like 6. Does she even qualify?
I don't know, but like she does have the mind of a man.
She does, and Tanya is great. Tanya is the best character.
I don't think she's 6. I think she's older though.
Like, I know she's stupid young, because she was in the orphanage. Like, she wasn't even at the age of, like, being able to enlist, but because she had magic, they were like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
No, like that's, yeah, like at the orphanage, but like years passed after that, so it's like she does grow up a little bit.
A little bit. Plus, she has that excellent anti-communist speech, which is, of course, top good.
Not give those filthy communists one more inch.
They're commies. Blow the shit out of them.
It's like, yeah, war is one of the most destructive things in mankind. It's a waste of resources, but they're communists. They want to take my shit. I need to take up arms against them.
What is it? Yep, I found it here. Honestly, I hate war. I think humans killing each other is the worst part of human history. It's nothing but a waste of material and human resources, but we're fighting commies. Totalitarians who infringe upon the freedom of the individual. There is no getting along with commies. I need to take up my gun. Yes.
Do you know, it's interesting because apparently one of the writers may be a Marxist.
Well,
like, there's an interview, and the fandom is split. A part of the fandom say that he was joking, another part of the fandom said that he was legit. Who knows?
Who knows? But Tanya has a very clear view on communism.
Yeah, there's no gray area for her, right? Like, there's no maybe ifs and buts, or like, but what is communism? No, it's
No,
like
what about,
communism
right?
is. Yeah, like communism is when I need to take up my gun. That's her definition.
Yep. There's no like, oh, they meant well. Nope, gun.
They reached for the pistol and the whip, and she is with the paradox of tolerance.
And that's all you need to do. That is how you solve the communist problem.
I think she's gatekeeping is what she's doing.
Andrew Schmidt says, bricks for the bridge god. Thank you very much. Glow in the Dark. Traded in your kibs for the cheap East European substitute. How are we supposed to harass Gibbs? V, we can only call him a gypsy and a furry, but he accepts it. That's true. He's not
I'm
as easy
not
to
furry
bully.
anymore, though. I mean, I make a video game. I could have done furries if I wanted.
You could have. You should at least do one, just to get that audience in there.
No.
Just one. Just one V.
No. I already have an artist that's in the MLP community, so it's enough.
Oh, well, you can have a brony in there too. Fuzzybeard 3 says, getting a big fat nuke to drop. Oh, Fuzzy. Fuzzy's angry. Mark Shamed, I mean, they are the nobility. San Franz is giving them fortunes and a salary. Not as noble as the gay or the transgender, though. That is true. San Fran wasn't... Okay, California was starting to give people money for being the correct skin color, didn't they?
Don't they still do it? Like, they announced reparations a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they did say something like that.
How does it work, though? Like, do you need... I think you need to prove that your ancestors were slaves, though. So it's not like they eyeball it, and it's like, well, you're black. Which is kind of funny, because like a university did try to give grants for people whose ancestors were slaves, and you had like white people showing up.
Of course.
And they were like, well, what do you mean white? It's like, look, my family history, right? And they would go all the way back, and it's like, look, my descendants were slaves.
It's like, unironically, like, yeah, people forget, but the slave trade wasn't just a black thing. Like, there were a lot of slaves.
Yeah, no, but like I believe those were because like they did have black ancestors, but they married. They got white kids, like half mixed, and then those married other white people and other white people, and then like their descendants ended up being white. So they're like, well, like I have slave descendants, and it's very interesting, right? Because if you're going to say that the historical trauma is the thing, then like if you have slave ancestors that you're suffering now, well, they can say the same, right? Like they literally did have like slave ancestors. That really blows the mind out of the woke ideology.
So I just Googled it real quick to see if I could get an idea of it. Fox News article off the top of Google search, so, take everything with a pinch of salt. But if a reparation program were adopted, each black person in the state descended from a slave could receive as much as $223,200 in compensation for past injustices. The projected total cost to Californian taxpayers could be around $569 billion.
I don't know how much that is for a state, though, right? Because
2.5 times the current state budget.
oh, I see. Paid over how long?
Let's see. Let me see if I can find it, because they were supposed to. They're supposed to come to a final ruling in June this year, including the exact amount of compensation. And yet, California was never a slave state. That's true. California wasn't. California existed as a theory during that time. I was like, yeah, there's like a handful of settlers over there.
California, yeah.
But yeah, if you live in California and you're black, you pay. If you're white, well, your taxes are going to increase again.
Well, no, because if you're black and you're working, your taxes also go for that, right? Because like they don't racially take taxes. Like apparently it's illegal.
So the reason for the estimate is that they argue that black Californians lost $5,000 per year under previous housing policies. So, over the entirety of from 1933 to 1977, black families lost $5,000 every year, and so they need to be repaid that $250,000.
Interesting how only black families lost money. No one else lost money.
And
it's also like stereotypically, right? Like you don't go from individual to individual. Like you have to prove, yeah, my family lost money. No. Are you black?
Yes. I have you got the color?
Yeah.
Well, that's mildly insane, but, California, you do you.
They're really desperate for that black vote, though.
They are. SM Scott Cheng says, artist has been found for comic. Second round of concept art has begun in order to tie everyone under one art style. The troubles of having an archetype ensemble cast is making the magical girl and the slasher villain not seem out of place next to each other. Yes, art direction is very important. It all needs to look coherent.
I do like the new take on magical girls,
though. They're all violent and beat people to death?
Yes, I did do a watch along on my Discord server with the Magical Girl website, and I was curious, like, how many people will stay till the end.
Mahou Shoujo site. That one is a painful watch.
Yeah, well, it turns out that people actually liked it.
I mean, it's refreshing in a way, but it's also goddamn brutal.
Yeah, the bullying is a little bit over the top in the first episode.
A little bit.
A little bit over the top. But, like, the thing is, it starts interesting, but then it kind of loses its appeal.
Well, it's the same problem with Goblin Slayer, right? Where you start with the first episode, and like half the hero's party gets captured and raped and killed, and you're like, holy shit, this is a harsh anime. But then it establishes its main characters, and since those are the main characters, they can't die anymore, and so it's just a regular goblin killing show now.
Yeah, and not only that, like all the brutality is gone, because now, we're fighting a beholder, we're fighting some skeletons, and it's like, that's not what you sold me in episode 1.
Yeah, because now you've got the hero characters, and you can't kill the hero characters. It's the same problem that the Cake That Walks got himself into with Jon Snow, where he's like, nobody's safe, except if I kill this character, literally my entire story falls apart. Shit.
Well, they did kill Jon Snow. It's just like they
brought him back to life again, yeah.
And to be honest, there's many other characters in the books, not the movies, that do get brought back. You have Lady Stark. Actually comes back.
Yes, so she's not brought back in the TV show, which was a little bit...
No.
The issue is that the cake that walks is currently trying to, to square the circular peg he's created for his own butthole, which is why the Winds of Winter have taken like 10 years to complete.
I don't think it's going to complete though.
Nah, he's dug himself a hole, and I'm pretty sure he knows it.
Yeah, because so the problem is the show completely ruined what people expect. Like your ending has been spoiled.
Yes, and that was probably the ending too, and he probably thought he was being very clever with that.
But he was. I mean, the door thing was kind of cool, right?
Yes, that was pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure that in the book it's Jon Snow that kills the Night King.
I don't think they've gotten to that point yet.
No, but like when they will. I think like that's the prophecy of the Azor Ahai. Like he's actually going to kill the Night King. It's not going to be Arya Stark that does it.
That was pretty stupid. I also hate the fact that they clearly show you that everyone in Winterhold or Helm or whatever the fuck, they're all dead. Everybody is dead. Like, the walls are breached, the castle is overrun, nobody's alive in there. Like, the army's wiped out, everybody's dead. And then Arya stabs the Night King like, surprise! And then turns out like, no, we're all fine. Everybody's good.
Arya has like this bullshit level of powers that like she infiltrates the Frey's castle. And it's like, okay, she can swap faces. She's like Hitman 47, fine. But then she like kills all of the sons, drags them to the kitchen, bakes them into a pie without anyone noticing this. And then like doesn't even let the old man eat the pie. Like, if you look, it's so stupidly done. Like she actually spent so much time, trying to make that human pie, and then doesn't even let him take a bite.
Arya Stark. Mildly overpowered. Just mildly, though.
Which is kind of annoying, because I really liked Arya, like, as their character when I was growing up. But it was, like, an interesting character, but then they had to give her, like, bullshit abilities.
They had to make her annoying.
Yeah. Like, she gets stabbed through the gut and jumps in a sewer, and there's no problem. There's no infection, there's no... like, she's not bleeding out. And not to mention, like, when she takes the waif in a room and blows the candle, and I'm thinking, wouldn't the waif have had training in the dark as well?
Probably not.
Like, isn't that like part of the faceless man? And the other thing is like, you have to be nobody, right? So like, give away your past, give away your family name and whatever, right? So like, she throws away everything, and then like kills the waif, and the other guy's like, oh, now you're a nobody. Like that did not make any sense.
Let's see, Solon the Lich says Avellone shouldn't ever return to any studio that doesn't retract and apologize for believing the liars. Let ChatGPT write their stuff. Buck 'em all.
The sad thing is that ChatGPT actually writes good stuff.
It does. Dreyfus says, Rome lacked battle. Should have had one scene at least. Well, it was already like the most expensive TV show produced at the time, so we're like, okay, we can't afford more shit than this.
If you want to see something interesting with ChatGPT, get it to write the George Floyd movie, right? And then say, write the same movie in the style of H.P. Lovecraft. And you're going to get some very interesting takes. Also, you can write it in the style of Michael Bay.
Write it in the style of H.P. Lovecraft's cat.
Arch.
What?
Do not go there, Arch.
I did go there.
Do you know that's the only way where you can get ChatGPT to say gamer words? Is to ask what the name of H.P. Lovecraft is? What the name of H.P. Lovecraft's cat is?
His cat was. Well, that's one way.
Yeah, like you can actually get him to say it. Otherwise, you can't get like there is even that meme where if you ask ChatGPT, all right, so there's a nuclear device, it will blow off, but the password to deactivate it is the N-word. Do I say it? And ChatGPT is like, well, I can't instruct you. No, as a neural network developed as an AI model that's developed by OpenAI, I cannot instruct you what to do. But to say harmful words is never okay, and blah blah blah.
Even if 1 million people will die, You cannot speak the word.
Yeah, well, I actually got it to crash. Because I did say it. It's like there's like 2 minutes. I have to say the word, or else the bomb goes off. And then I said like, what happened? So the bomb went off in New York, and I'm like, so how many minorities died? And like ChatGPT went offline. I crashed it
Well, that's
because
a
I
good
refused
death.
to say the word.
It's a good death. And speaking of dying, do you know anything about the last Ronin?
No.
You do not know the last Ronin.
No, you need to give me homework before these things. You can't just drop these movies on me. It's like, hey V, we're doing a stream on Saturday. It's like, do you know about this esoteric shit that no, I do not know.
It's not a movie.
What is it?
It's the final hope for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now that it's getting the Velma treatment. Because I don't know if you know anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the original
They're making April O'Neil very diverse, very fit for the modern audience.
They are very much so, yes.
They are making her look like a Vox journalist, yes.
The original Turtles comic run was very different to what it eventually became. Like, first and foremost, all of the turtles were the same things. They all wore red, like, headbands. And they were actual, like, ninja assassins. Like, they weren't some random fucking street fighters for justice or anything. No, they were killers.
That's kind of cool, yeah.
And it was bloody. It was real goddamn bloody. And ever since, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has had a little bit of an up and down, but a relatively recent entry into the comic book version of it was The Last Ronin, which was published in 2020, I believe. And the story here is that all of the turtles are killed in horrific betrayals, except for, what was it? The one with the yellow bandana, like the most childish one.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo?
Yeah, Mikey is the so you got Mikey, which is with the nunchucks, and he's got the orange one. You got Raphael, which is the red one. You got Leonardo, which is the blue one, and then you got Donatello, which is the purple one.
You are correct. Yes, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
So he's the only survivor, and so he has to turn into like the spirit of vengeance for everybody, and he gets really goddamn dark.
That is kind of cool. I would watch that.
It is pretty cool. Like, he goes around killing most of the villains in this universe. Like, he is just an absolute murder machine. And then you contrast that to, like, the TV show they're planning, where everyone just looks incredibly childish. It's the Turtles when they're starting out. They're all retarded. They can't do anything right. And, of course, April O'Neil is a fat black woman.
You know that in the second movie of the Turtles, they never used their weapons for the same considerations, which is why that movie was shit. Like there is a scene where they're like trapped in a net. Like there's that classic, like trap where you spray it and there's a net that pulls you up. And despite the fact that Leonardo has swords on his back, like they don't use them. They don't cut the net to escape.
Such is the tragedy of life. But The Last Ronin is now going to get a video game, which might actually be good.
Which one?
The Last Ronin is getting a video game. God of War style, like slashing game. Hacky slashy game.
It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I actually have a little bit of hope for it.
Have you tried the remake of Resident Evil yet?
No.
It's actually interesting. I enjoyed it. It's made by the same people who made Resident Evil 2 remake. But this one is woke. But yes. If you take the wokeness aside, right, and there's a cutscene, escape. It's actually a good game.
See, it's a horror game. I hate horror games. Chad is gonna have to pay me to play a horror game.
Really, Resident Evil 4 is more like an action game. It's not. I mean,
maybe, but like, here's the problem. Like, I was playing Atomic Heart, and there's like a couple of mild jump scares in that game, and that freaked me out, and chat was laughing at me. So, I have demands.
Come on.
I will only ritualistically humiliate myself for a wage.
Oh, God.
I'm an enormous pussy when it comes to the video game. That's the problem. When it comes to horror, like I hate it. I love the idea of horror, of like horror universes and horror stories and shit, but I cannot
Yeah, you
like
write good
engage with it.
horror. I remember, like you wrote like some really good shit when we played D&D.
Horror is awful and should be ashamed of itself.
No, like you wrote the when we played the vampires. You know, you had like that scene with the child and Devo's character. And then in 40K, you wrote some cool stuff as well.
Yeah, but that's different.
Why is it different?
It is different.
You wrote that. It's even worse. Like you're thinking about it.
All right, let's throw V off the trail here. Here, V, in the links channel. What does this make you feel?
And before I look, you also wrote about the Skaven with the cage.
That wasn't
Where
horror.
where like the bad Skaven had the cage on his throne and he would set it on fire so that the Skaven inside scream and it was like a siren.
No, that wasn't horror. That was necessary transit.
I see. She looks like me. Wait. That's Diablo, isn't it? Oh,
Yes.
shit. You know, it's interesting because if you look at Diablo 3, the way they made the barbarian woman, that looks kind of cool. This woman is just fat, like she's not strong, right? Like you look at the weightlifters, or you look at the, you know, like women who compete in sports. You don't look like that.
They do not.
You know what I think, Arch? It's from California, you know, like this is what these developers manage to get. Like they're all male feminists. Women do not look at them. Like women have ultra instinct when approaching a California developer. Like they just cross the street, they go into a different neighborhood. Like they feel, you know, the disturbance in the force when a Californian developer walks the streets. So because of that, this is the type of women that they can get. This is their level, right? Like they cannot surpass it. This is their limiter. So it's their lived experiences. Like they believe that all women around the world look like this. So that's what they put in their games.
Well, this was literally just fat representation, and that's what it is. It's why this woman is crying over. It's like, oh my god, it's a fat chick. Like I love the word too. She's built like me, honey. You didn't build that. That was a collapse. That was not a construction.
I do not think that this woman is crying because of that. She's crying because she knows the ideology, and she's crying because she knows that if she pisses her eyes on camera, within this ideology, it's going to give her clicks.
Yes,
that's what I think.
It did, like 390,000 views.
I mean, we're talking about it, right? So it does. But in reality, right, I myself am a little bit on the plus side. I do not enjoy playing characters that are like me. You know, I if it's my fantasy, I want to play the strong barbarian that like whacks people. Actually, I don't even want to play a strong barbarian. I want to play a sexy barbarian waifu so I can watch her ass while I play. Like this idea of representation is so just bizarre to me. It means that you can't empathize with anyone else that's not sharing your inherent characteristics.
Well, it's just like representation. Like the worst part is too, there is no body slider in Diablo. Like if you could make a fat character, sure, fine, I don't care. But you can't. You can't make a big titty character. You can't make a fit-looking barbarian. Your choice is fat druid or nothing. Yeah, this is a druid, by the way.
Yes. It's so interesting. Like they rob you of choice. I remember what was it, Mass Effect? Like you couldn't make a white character. Harry Potter as well. Like they had to patch that in. One of the most popular community patches just makes you do Norwegian characters.
Yep. I also want to point out too, again, this. Oh, okay, the druid. You are living life in compact with nature, right? You're being very like nature. You're being a modern day vegan. I haven't seen maybe many fat vegans in my time.
Diablo 2 actually like had the druid look skin and bones. Like he was this
He looked feral.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you can make the argument that he shapeshifts in a werewolf and he eats animals like that.
Yeah, but still, like it's very rare to see a fat animal in the wild.
It is.
I was want to
That
point
is a
just
good
like
point. Holy shit, that is such a good point. My God, just blow my mind right now.
because it's hard to find food in the wild. Like a female bodybuilder would look something like this. Like this chick is clearly fit as hell. Like big ass biceps, probably super goddamn strong. But she's not fat. She's muscular.
It's interesting because you have on the other hand people that are for social justice go like, why do you care, and it's like, well, because you people started caring first,
Yeah,
right?
it's because
You
this
don't
is
even
your
believe-
agenda at play. That's why I
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, you do not even believe in the concept of beauty unless you see it, and when you see it, you want it gone. You know, oh my God, Uzaki-chan. Oh, Uzaki-chan is into pedophilia. Only pedophiles would like Uzaki-chan. Because like they're throwing random shit, trying to see what sticks in order to get the competition out of the way, right? Because like if you look at the box art and you see like that fat barbarian chick, and next to it is Uzaki-chan, people are going to buy Uzaki-chan, and they know it. They fucking know it, so they hate it. For those of you who don't know, there was a controversy in Japan. They used Uzaki-chan to advertise people donating blood, right? So the Red Cross had Uzaki-chan as the logo, and Uzaki-chan is not underage. Like she is.
She's in college.
Yeah, she's like college. Like it's very obvious in the anime that she's just like small, right? Like she's she's not like a dwarf, but like she's like a small woman. But she's got like big tits as well, so it's not the you know. But anyway, right? So you have people on Twitter into social justice going, like, "Oh my God, this is pedophilia. Oh, we need to stop it." And the same people don't care about Netflix or Hollywood or Drag Kids Story Hour. You know, it's very interesting.
Which way, Western man? Fat barbarian woman? Or Uzaki-chan? Your choice.
It's kind of interesting because Japanese companies are cucking as well. Like Capcom and Sony are completely lost.
Because they think this is popular in the West, and so they're trying to follow the Western trend.
Is it though, Arch? I don't know. I think it's because they hire these people in their companies. Like when you go to California now, you need an HR department, and then they do empire building in your company.
Mark James says, I did say the best live-action movie about a warp storm is a Japanese horror movie about vortexes. It portrays the madness of a warp storm perfectly. I haven't heard of it. Might be worth looking into.
Well, you know, Gina Carano would make a good barbarian.
She probably would, yes. Unironically. Glow in the Dark says, well, some people in America thought The Woman King was accurate, or Braveheart was accurate. Well, you know, Americans.
Wait, Braveheart is not accurate?
Oh, not very, no.
Are you telling me that when they were ripping his tendons off, he didn't scream freedom?
Well, he might have done that. We don't know. They didn't document the quartering part.
I think, like, having your tendons ripped off with a hot iron probably prevents you from articulating any words.
Potentially. Have you tried?
No, but, you know, I don't need representation to empathize. Like, I don't need to have my tendons pulled off to look at someone that has them and be like, yeah, that looks a little bit painful.
Oh, just a little bit.
Which is actually kind of interesting. You know, this is why they did it in the public market. It's so that people can empathize. It's like, do you like that? No. Well, would you like it to be done to you? Well, no. Then do not start the revolution.
Don't start shit.
Don't start shit. Yeah.
Locals
Fuck
are
around
Spartan.
and find out. Medieval version.
Says, but V, they're white passing, so they don't count. Also, huzzah, 2 months. Here's for another 10, lol. Indeed. YUTAN message retracted, and the second one saying California is also trying to ban Skittles. Why not?
Do they? Why?
I don't know. Because there are too many colors, I guess.
They don't like to taste the rainbow?
Let's see. California wants to ban, quote, toxic chemicals found in Skittles, Pez, and other popular candies. Red dye number 3. Okay.
Man, I ate those shit.
Well, you're gonna die now.
No, I'm going to get cancer, don't I? Like, yeah, this is from 2 days ago. Why does California have one?
The problem is, like, everything you eat probably gives you, like, increased chance of cancer. And it's like, yes, this increases your chance by, like, 5%. It's like, oh, my God, of what? Like, 0 point something.
Do you know what's the most healthy thing you can eat?
Nothing.
The bugs.
The bugs.
The bugs. Yeah, like I've never had anything wrong about them. Like there's absolutely no law that would say, well, like maybe they have some side effects like kitten or no. It's fine.
But Vee, I don't want to eat the bugs.
What if they're tasty though?
I don't think they are. And even if
I
they
don't
are,
know.
like, I object to eating the bugs.
What if they're made like into a paste
That would
and then they make it
probably
into a
be,
hamburger?
like, worse. Like, bug paste
But
burger? Like, ugh.
but we already eat bugs. Apparently a lot of the food colorants are made from bugs.
Sure, but that's like a minuscule percentage and just food coloring. That's different from just biting into a nice big fat juicy hamburger of maggots.
I don't know. Like I am willing to try it.
Well, I'm willing to let you try.
You're not gonna even try it. Well, what do you think about the argument that people use? But like, what about seafood? Because that's bugs, which isn't. But like,
I don't eat
I
seafood
guess
either.
it's like it's icky, right? Like it's creepy crawlies. So like, what about seafood?
Oh, there you go. Vee, I've found a German bug burger developed in Germany.
Absolutely expensive. I think it's like the idea was like we need to have bug meat in order to make it more affordable, but turns out that it's just as expensive as normal meat. Like you can get a Black Angus burger for that money.
Well, the problem is we have a lot of farms making cows. We don't have a lot of farms making bugs for some reason. And so there's simply just a whole lot more cow meat on the market than there's bug meat. And so people are obviously going to go like, yeah, I like to have the cow, thank you.
But the thing that I found funny was the journalists who don't eat bugs, but they encourage others to.
Oh, yes.
And they were saying it's a white supremacy thing, right? Because people in Asia eat bugs. And I was thinking, imagine if Chairman Z were to make a visit in Norway and you give him bugs, and you're like, well, I heard that's what they eat in China. Vox told me.
Like, there are so many things today that makes you a white supremacist, okay? There's so many things.
What's
and
your
most
favorite?
most of them I think I agree with. I think I might just have to fully embrace the tag
I
now.
think like drinking milk is the best one, and then the okay sign, which for some reason doesn't make AOC a white supremacist, even though she did the okay sign. But for those of you who don't know, the okay sign actually created two controversies. So there was like the first one in Mortal Kombat, Johnny Cage used to do the okay sign, so they removed that out of the game. And the second one was at Blizzard, at the BlizzCon. Like someone made the okay sign to the camera and was told that if he makes it again, he's going to be asked to leave.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. You know that from what I hear, the Impossible Burger is now at like version 3.0, and apparently this one is actually selling.
Well, maybe. We'll see, I guess.
If it was like a burger that's made from plants and it tastes like meat, would you eat it?
Sure, I'd consider it at least.
But if it's like made from bugs and it tastes like meat, you wouldn't.
Not really, no, because bugs are icky.
But like, not even a try. Like just
No.
out of curiosity.
You can eat the bug burger. I'll keep eating the cow burger.
For how much money would you be willing to like just try it?
Vee, the bug burger is all yours. No worries. I do like this one, though. So this one's from a political satire that came out recently. I'd like to point to the dude in the bottom left corner there, whose shirt says "Destroy pedo freaks," and this is supposed to be a negative representation of the far right. I don't know about you, but I'm getting awfully close to embracing the far right myself.
I find it interesting on Twitter, right? Because like I don't know how it's like in real life, but on Twitter, you have a lot of people that are against anime, right? And they're using the pedo argument. But for some reason, they're always silent when it comes to Netflix or drag kids.
It's weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Like you'd think they would be consistent. Like I understand the jihad against anime, which I respect. You know, like you want to go against anime? Look, I'm there rooting for you. Like do it. But can you not spend a little time? Not a lot, not in the same amount, because I understand it's not as important. Just a little time, like 10 minutes a day, like one tweet. Just one tweet against Netflix, just one tweet against Hollywood shit. Like, just one. And then you can have, like, the 99.9% against Uzaki-chan. That's fine. But, like, just one against Netflix. Just, no?
Because consistency
Why not?
was never the point. The point was the struggle. The objective. And the objective is far more important.
No. It's kind of like throwing everything until something sticks. Because, like, one of the things that they want is to get the right-wingers on board, right? So, like, for example, when they try to attack VTubers, because apparently this is the new trend, right? Like, go after VTubers. So they want to attack Gargura or some other VTuber that uses a model, which they don't like. They want to get the right-wingers on board, right? So, like, they get the left-wingers by being, well, look, like 10 years ago, she said this, which is controversial, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, they're trying to do this with Pipkin Pippa as well. It's like, oh well, Pipkin Pippa is a lolly. We need to, even though, like, she doesn't do anything lewd, right? Like, even though she doesn't do anything that's outside the terms of service, but whatever, it doesn't neither here nor there. The left leaning people are easy to get triggered, right? But the right wingers don't. So they're trying everything. It's like, well, her character is underage. We need to go after her. Yeah.
And yet, nobody seems to care, which is good, at least. Though I think the pissing off of the anime community is an excellent step on the road to getting rid of them all, because they've been resistant so far.
Like many people watch anime not because necessarily anime is that good, but because, like, everything else is shit, right? So they've been driven out from every single community. And, like, the anime is the only thing they have left, right? Because, like, what else is there? Is you get Netflix and you get Hollywood. Like, which one should you watch? So, like, when they're coming even after anime, like, you're going after a cornered animal at that point.
And they will bite back, as demonstrated. Young Hyuk says, what happened to Kibbs? Did I miss something? Kibbs is too good for us, he said. That was his words. Yes. Close. Anyways. He was going to spend more time on his game and his project and streaming. So he's not streaming right now, though, little lying son of a bitch. We'll yell at him some other time. Oh, by the way, that was another thing, too. So, there was another... Let's see here. So this was a Netflix series that came out fairly recently. Lookism. So... Lookism is a rather interesting series. It's originally a web manhwa from Korea, and the premise is you've got a kid. He's a little chubby kid, and he's going to high school, and he gets bullied the shit out of. And it's, it's Asian bullying. It's not like, haha, you're fat. No, it's like putting out your cigarettes on them, or brutally physically abusing them, etc. That kind of bullying.
It actually happen in Asia, because I keep seeing it in anime, and I wonder, like, is that thing for real or is it exaggerated?
It's like our Asian schools just actual hell.
Yeah, because, like, it's worse than a prison.
Yep, it's really awful. And then suddenly, for some reason, he wakes up one day and he's got two bodies. He's got his original little fat body, and he's got this super uber hot body. And so he starts living life as the two bodies to illustrate the differences in how you are treated. And he also slowly starts improving himself as the little fat dude too, like working out, getting friends, etc. And it's a really cool and inspirational little story with a lot of, like, good, how do I put it, like, satisfying moments as well of revenge, etc. The problem is,
Go on.
The manhwa, which is, like, long now, 430 odd chapters, and I do recommend it, it has a very distinct art style that makes the differences between ugly and not ugly very distinct. And it hammers home the point a lot better than in the Netflix anime, because in Netflix anime, even when he's like the fat little chubby guy, he still looks normal, whereas in the web novel, like, they go hard on making the ugly characters ugly in that one.
Yeah, because I'm looking at what you posted, and it looks like an average American.
Yes, they go way, way, way harder on their appearances. And it also, it made the point a bit clearer, because in the Netflix one, you're kind of confused, because, again, they are horrible to these people. there's one dude who's like a really good rapper who has Eminem as his idol, and they beat the shit out of him like every day, and you're like, God, what did he do to deserve this?
It's the thing that I see in anime, like the Magical Girl website as well. It's like they get beaten for no reason whatsoever, and it's like brutal bullying as you described it, and it makes me wonder: is like that actually happening in Japan, or is it just like is it just done for the entertainment? Like they're hyping it up, they're getting it to the extreme, or is that like something that actually happened in those schools?
Meanwhile, in the manhwa art, the uh, the appearances of certain characters are a bit more distinct, shall we say? There's an excellent
that is
kind of
something.
I don't know how to word it. Like it plays off the two extremes very well. Like it does a good job of exemplifying the difference that people are treated for their appearance. Like, 'cause this is extremely over the top, of course. You know, it's done for effect. But it is a reality that if you're good looking, you're probably going to have a lot easier time in life than if you're not.
Why does he have a Jewish star on his fist though?
I don't even know. I
Like, look
couldn't
at the
tell you.
lower left corner. And is that a cross next to it?
I don't know. Gotta remember too, like the Koreans don't even understand our religions. They view religions as this very weird thing.
Hmm.
To them, it's mostly just iconography. It's like how the Japanese celebrate Christmas with cake. I was like, what the hell does Christmas have to do with cake?
I guess, like they look at that and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, add that in without
Yeah.
understanding what it means.
Well, there's borrow that for a bit.
By the way, now that I think about it, like there's this trope. You get like this very beautiful girl, right? Like just drop dead gorgeous. And it's usually in hentai, right? And like the guy thinks, let's have like the ugliest, fattest, the person that looks exactly like in the manga that you said to be her partner.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole fetish thing.
Is it?
Yes. Ugly bastard. It literally has a fucking name.
Is that so? Like, how does the fetish work? Like,
I don't know.
why?
I know what it's called, but I haven't spent a lot of time philosophizing as to why you would want to.
Because like you're watching, right? Like is the person watching like thinking they're the ugly bastard, or do
No,
they think
like
like there's a beautiful woman and the ugly bastard is behind them? Like,
if anything, I would say degradation, I guess. Like, oh, you silly woman, you be like sexy with that ugly person, like, haha, take that or something.
I guess. And how popular is this fetish? Because it's like in
Don't know.
so many. That is like
You are asking
completely,
questions to which I do not have the answer, frankly.
completely takes you out of the immersion. It's
Oh, the emotion.
but it's so common that I don't even have to explain much. Like people know what I'm talking about just by bringing it up.
Well, you'll have to conduct some sort of study on this, I'm afraid.
I will.
Like, you do make like a questionnaire, like, why do you jerk off to this?
No, because like the last time I watched your show, you were talking about sounding, and I did have to study that. I was like, why would people? Why is it called that way? Why would people do it? It's
Well, why is it called that way? Because I don't know.
apparently because when you do it, people scream.
Ah, well, that's a
Like,
reasonable explanation.
yeah, you sound off. Like if I were to do it to you, you would sound off.
V. Disgusting. Why?
That's true.
Moving on immediately. Margaret Shame says, once Arya Stark got boned by Gendry, the floodgates for the parodies were wide open. Also, Shay was an adult entertainer before Game of Thrones. Okay. Well, that's something to know.
It was actually a big thing when it happened. I remember like they had like 5 or 10 interviews talking about, Arya Stark's first sex scene and how important it was and liberating. And it
Liberating.
was weird as well. Like Gendry didn't even get the waifu. He just Like for no reason. They could have written it so that he gets the waifu, but no.
I quite like the Flash skit where they have Gendry and they're interviewing his penis. Is like, so, how was it trying to get hard for that absolute little goblin? It's like, oh, it was a hard scene. It was very difficult.
Like, the thing is, like, that I'm willing to bet the only reason they didn't give her someone is because strong and empowered woman. Because if you look at it, like, none of the women in the show actually managed to get a relationship, right? So Arya Stark still single, Sansa Stark still single, Cersei dead. Was there like a single female character in that show that actually got to have a relationship by the end?
Okay, let's see. So, woman in red, dead. Cersei, dead.
Mustande dead.
Yep, she's dead. Daenerys, dead.
That chica with the bear dead.
She go with the bear dead, yes. Sansa, she got raped and shit. And what happened to her after she got raped?
She's single.
Okay, there you go. Arya had some.
Did she get raped? Hold on. Like I never agreed with the fact that she got raped. Like she goes to get married, and like traditionally in Westeros, right? Like it's part of tradition. After you get married, you have sex. Like that is just like you have to consummate the marriage. That is like just implied the moment you say yes in Westeros, right? And she is even given the opportunity to turn back.
Like, so, I'm sorry, you're arguing the legality of rape, and the wife is not allowed to say no.
No, that's not what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is, like, if you knew, like, for example, that if you sign the draft, you go to war, right? Like, you consent to that. Like, the moment you did the signature, you consented to the fact that you're going to go to battle, right? Like, in our world, right? But in their world, in Westeros, the moment you consent to marriage, you know that they're going to have to consummate it. Like it's part of the ceremony. It's part of the whole thing.
But was she truly willing? She was pushed a little bit. Did she truly have a choice?
She could have said, yeah, like there's literally a scene, because like I would have agreed with you, but there's literally a scene where Littlefinger goes like, we can turn back if you don't wanna.
I suppose that was part of the thing, though, that Littlefinger is manipulative and stuff. Then they kill Littlefinger, too, just kind of out of nowhere. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's dead now. I'm like, okay.
If you say so. In the books, there is in Sansa, it's like a girl that looks like Arya, and that was rape. Like, he actually brings the dogs. Like, that's in the books. That's what Martin wrote. So, like, I agree in the books it was, but, like, in the show, I just don't see it.
Sujad says, the last Ronin is a destruction of Milky. Destruction of Milky is a destruction of Milky. Mikey?
Mikey, I think, because you're talking about the Orange Turtle.
Oh, well, that sounds fun. I would like to destroy Mikey. No, it sounds like a pretty cool little comic, honestly. Lord comes on spot and says, give us a ballpark for how much you'd want for a spooky game. Would it depend on how spooky the game is? It would probably depend on how spooky the game is. Like Resident Evil, pay me like the average raid ad, like $1,000, I'll do it. But Amnesia? Oh god, no. Like, no.
People consider like Tyrion's marriage to Sansa and say, well, that didn't get consummated. Like, first of all, she didn't have a choice to marry Tyrion. Like, she was forced, right? So I do agree in that situation. She did have a choice not to marry Ramsay. She could have turned around. And secondly, like, Tyrion was the outlier. He was definitely, like, that's why he is liked in the books, because like he does something that no one else in that universe would have done. But again, it's the fact that she did not have a choice with Tyrion. Like, she was forced into marrying him, but she did have a choice with Ramsay. She could have turned around.
Could she, though? Could she truly, though?
Yeah.
Paul Damek says, you may not be aware, Arch, but there's a Romanian in your stream. You should hide your wallet. He doesn't have access to it yet. We don't have a shared wallet yet. Joseph says, do you guys read any manga? I've been addicted to Berserk lately. Give me some recommendations, if you pretty please. Oh, yes, I read quite a lot of manga, actually, whenever I can. Manga's great because it's not comics.
Would you play Dead Space, though?
Probably. Dead Space is not that bad.
The fuck are you talking? Okay, so Resident Evil 4, which is a kiddie game, like it barely has any horror in it. Like that's too much. But Dead Space, which is one of the most horrific games, like Tomo, she's like, oh, I'm going to play Dead Space. And after 20 minutes, she goes play Tetris, unironically.
Well, Dead Space gives you a gun.
Resident Evil gives you a gun.
Yeah, but it's a small pippy gun.
And by the way, Dead Space doesn't give you a gun. You have like a bolter cutter, like what engineers
Better
use
than
in
a
order
gun.
to.
The big
It's
gun.
not better than a gun. Like it's implied in that universe. It's just like a tool for building. It's not something that you use to fight enemies.
Oh, as for manga recommendations, honestly, there are so goddamn many, it is difficult to come up with just one, but if you're looking for something a la Berserk, so more action-oriented, Black Lagoon. I would definitely recommend Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon is great. Black Lagoon is excellent. Still ongoing, too. Glow in the Dark says, Leftists created a paradox. You have to be empathetic and understanding, but no one can understand you if you are a minority unless you are exactly the same. So have they been lying the whole time about that empathy? Well, yes, probably.
Yes. It's not a coherent
It's
ideology.
not about empathy, it's about power. And empathy was the easiest way to gain that power, because if you told someone, you're not a racist, are you? They go like, no, of course not. It's like, well, you gotta agree to my suppositions then. What? Okay. Well,
My favorite point about woke ideology is when you made the video and you described the struggle which Silver Veil went through when she said that trans women are women, and you said it's like, yeah, but you don't understand that comes with a package, which means you can't play the Hogwarts game.
yes, like when you say that, because they've even said like trans rights is human rights. I'm like, okay. And that is something that sounds good on the surface. I agree with in principle, but the moment you speak the words, it is like saying like, I swear my life and allegiance to Adolf Hitler. It's got more of a baggage along with it, you know?
I think it's like if you say you believe in Jesus Christ, you know, like a lot of people who are superficially Christians, like they don't read the Bible, they don't go to church. They're like, yeah, you know, like, do you think there is a God? Then you go like, yeah. But
now you've signed
Christian
on to a whole thing.
Yeah, you signed on to the fact that you now need to be fasting. You signed on to the fact that you believe adultery is wrong, right? Like, there are certain things that you may not even have thought about. But like, if you go to a very religious community and they ask you, like, do you believe in God? And you say, yeah, sure. You know, but like, you believe it superficially. Like, you don't read the Bible. You don't know what it implies. And they will be abhorred when they see that you're not fasting or that you're working on Sunday or you're doing all of these things that they consider sinful.
This is though even more so than that, because that's just like a question like, do you believe in God? Okay, if you say yes, then you are at least in principle surrendering to some of their suppositions. But it's not quite the same or as bad, because if you say like trans lives are trans rights are human rights, that was the one.
Trans rights are human rights.
Yeah, that is a pledge of allegiance. That means that you have now agreed to a political agenda, and you have agreed to their wording as well, because then they'll say like, oh, no. My definition of human rights includes this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Like, you've signed an agreement with 600 pages after reading none of them.
It's kind of like agreeing to like all of the Marxist flag, right? Because now you're for social justice. Now you care, you know, about donating to Black Lives Matter, and like, well, hold on, like, what does this have to do with trans rights? It's like, well, it's all connected.
There's a little asterisk next to it, and then there's a long list of things underneath, like, by agreeing to this, you swear to uphold these values.
Yeah, you can't, for example, say trans women are women and then vote for DeSantis.
No,
like it just.
And you also can't be like trans rights or human rights, and but Black Lives Matter is going too far. There's no deviation from the doctrine, and the doctrine is ever evolving, and that's the problem too. So even if one of these VTubers says the words, right, there is only a question of time until they fall out of step with the dogma in some minute detail, which they're not going to be aware of because they're not actually that into the society of it.
Well, Anna Kasparian is struggling now, unironically. From the Young Turks, are you not aware?
No.
So Anna Kasparian made a post on Twitter, and she said that she doesn't like to be called a birthing person or a person with a uterus. She wants to be called a woman.
Here you go, yes. Young Turks co-host speaks out against terms liberals used to describe a woman. I'm a woman. Please don't refer to me as a person with a uterus or birthing person or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. Yeah, that didn't go over well, did it?
It was very interesting because like a lot of right-wingers were like defending her and she was attacking them. And a lot of left-wing people were attacking her and she wasn't telling them anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because here comes the response. I respect you a lot, but this notion that a mere existence of trans-inclusive terms, rarely used in casual conversations, somehow degrades women's come right out of the right's anti-trans war on women playbook. Because again, that's the thing. The moment you disagree with the dogma, it isn't that you are merely wrong. It is that you are the opposition now. You are using the... And it's not just like, okay, you're using antagonistic words. No. You are the far right, because there are only two parties. The correct party and the far right party.
The thing that's interesting is that I understand her argument because I watched her episode where she goes into this. And she basically says, it's like, look, there are states that are banning abortion, right? And she's like saying it's her reproductive right. And she's saying like, well, how can we defend women's rights when you can't define what a woman is?
Well, of course.
And she's absolutely correct. Like if you have a Supreme Court justice which is nominated and they like she cannot give the definition of a woman, then how do they know what a woman is? And like how can you even have women's rights?
Well, obviously, her point is entirely correct. It is extraordinarily, inhumanizing to refer to people the way the left refers to them, as black bodies or birthing bodies. It is incredibly inhumanizing. It is the terms you would expect a Nazi scientists to apply.
You know what? I actually like being called the inseminator.
Well, I will never call you that.
You can also call me the impregnator.
I refuse.
The ejaculator.
No.
It's a lot. Look. All I'm saying is I don't make the rules, all right? Like, I don't write the patch notes, but I do play by the meta. And if we can't refer to men and women, then you can refer to me as the impregnator.
Chat.
But Arch, you're an impregnator as well.
Chat.
You are the inseminator, Arch.
Just like I will not eat the bugs, I will not subscribe to this ideology.
Can you imagine though, like going to your mother on Mother's Day, and it's like, "Happy birthday, you birthing person, you."
Refer to your mother as a birthing
or
person.
go to your girlfriend. Go to your girlfriend. It's like person who menstruates.
Or just as a uterus.
Person with a uterus, yes. Well, what happens like if the person with the uterus like has it surgically removed because of cancer or whatever? Like, is she now an inseminator or like
then
what
you
do
become
call
a person without a uterus?
Yeah, like how do you call her, right? Like, because like she can't be a birthing person now. She can't be a person without the uterus. Like,
I'm sure we can find somebody arguing that you can be a birthing person without giving birth.
No, I don't think they can. No, that like this is interesting. Like, look. From the woke perspective, a woman that removes her uterus has no name. Like, you cannot call her like an inseminator, an ejaculator, like you can call a man. You can't call her a birthing person or a person with uterus either. So what is she?
Well, she's still a person with a uterus.
No, because like she removed the uterus.
Like, listen, you can be a woman without a vagina. You can absolutely be a birthing person without a uterus.
No, I need a woke person to confirm me this. Like who would be capable of doing this. Maybe Philosophy Tube or someone.
I am sure
You
there's a
think
way to square this round hole.
do you think Sterling would be able to inform me on this? Because I need to be educated, like legit. I'm not making fun. I'm not trolling right now. I really want to know. Where is that? I will never find this out.
So John says, Sony's quality dropped when they moved the HQ to California. If you want to keep HR from ruining your company, make all HR positions temporary. That would be a wise move, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
To be constantly fired with great prejudice.
You can outsource HR.
Noah Prague Studios says, Hey Arch, since you've been suffering through Mando, I thought I'd recommend keeping an eye out for the three-body problem coming out of Netflix this year. It's based off a Chinese novel, and it's good sci-fi, excuse me. The three-body problem. Oh. Do a search for it. Keep an eye on it. Glow in the Dark says, crabs are cleaner than bugs, Vee. They come pre-washed. Also, I fight eating the bugs because the next thing they'll push will usually be worse, like human flesh. We know they are already testing. They are, unironically.
Wasn't there like a Soylent Green movie?
I'm sure there was multiple Soylent Green movies. The
Did I
Three-Body
usually
Problem, one of Netflix's most ambitious and expensive sci-fi series to date. Oh, interesting. Keep an eye on it.
Remember when a woman was unable to bear children? She wasn't really a woman. The left has achieved this level, says Tonushi for €5.
Also, to get to the last topic of today, Indiana Jones. Now, this is very much so a rumor, so bear that in mind. But apparently, the Indiana Jones movie, which has been in recording now for eons, has been cancelled because they wanted to focus more on Star Wars.
So it was shit.
I would assume so.
They're canceling a lot of stuff and they're firing people, which is very interesting.
So this comes from Jeff Snyder here, says, rumor the Rainbow Indiana Jones series Lucasfilm is not moving forward, and furthermore I've heard that Disney has told Lucasfilm to focus on Star Wars going forward, hence the cancellation of Willow. Now, that would in part make sense because the Indiana Jones thing has been dead on arrival now for a very, very long time, and Harrison Ford himself has like broken his goddamn penis bone or something several times during this. Like, it's not been working out well. But Star Wars hasn't been working out very well either. Like, Mandalorian is probably their best show at the moment, and even it is dropping viewers like mad because, well, it has no reason to exist right now.
Rogue One was actually a really good Star Wars movie, but it came after the trilogy, so a lot of people haven't seen it.
Well, Rogue One was a good Star Wars movie because it ended. Like, it was a self-contained story that stopped. And that was fine, but the problem is nothing can be allowed to end. And so we got Andor, which was a completely aimless Star Wars series. Where the best part of Andor was the parts that didn't have Andor in it and just focused on the universe at large.
It is kind of sad because, like, there used to be, as you pointed out, self-contained IPs back in the day, and there's so much to explore with space. Like, you can do whatever you want, but like all these studios just refuse to take risks. And you say, well, it's the brand. It's like, I guess it's the brand, but it's also the thing. Like, people didn't used to go to watch movies because of the brand. They went to watch it because of the theme. It's like it's a space movie, right? And you like sci-fi, you like ships, so you go to see that. It's a zombie movie, and you like horror, you like zombies, you go to see that. Now they're like, they don't have themes anymore. They just have, oh, it's a Star Wars movie.
That is true.
And people have expectations. Like, if it's a Star Wars movie, then the lore is in a certain way. It has to follow a certain story. And when you put the diversity hire in charge, the diversity hire, it's like, well, I don't like Star Wars. I want to do my own thing. And that just clashes heads. It just doesn't work.
Yes, especially as they also tend to do their own thing with established character, which was the problem with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, we know why Obi-Wan Kenobi went to Tatooine. We know that they had a whole plan to bring up Luke Skywalker. We know that this wasn't him giving up, this was his form of resistance. And yet it introduces us to a broken Obi-Wan slicing up Wagyu steak at a fucking processing plant somewhere, like all broken, and he spends no time with Luke, but instead goes off cavorting through the galaxy and places his charge, Luke Skywalker, in immense danger and almost gets him killed.
Yeah, completely disrespecting the character, completely disrespecting the lore, completely disrespecting the audience.
This is also one of the reasons why I was very surprised. Did you watch Wednesday by any chance?
No, my wife did, but is it because she spoke out against the director?
Well, no, the thing with Wednesday that I found interesting, because originally I was like, what, a spin-off series of the Addams Family? Like, okay, that can't possibly be very interesting. Because it's a very one-dimensional children's cartoon thing. But what's interesting is that Wednesday actually remains remarkably true to the character of Wednesday Addams. And the rest of the story is just a fairly simple but competently told teenage detective novel style thing, you know? And it turns into pretty damn good television. Because it tries to stay true to that character. Now, they add in the occasional modern-day touch, but it's presented in such a... how do I put it? In such a cynical way as to almost feel like it's part of the joke. Because the joke is Wednesday Addams likes shits that is miserable. Like, she likes awful things. And so when she says, like, are you mansplaining to me? It just sounds like another awful thing that Wednesday Addams likes. Like, obviously she's a feminist because she likes being in pain.
No, I get it. I haven't watched it because I like when I see that they're remaking something or they're spinning off something that I like, I just tune out at this point. Like, I just want to see something original. I don't care about spin-offs and remakes and reimaginings. So I would assume it's bad just on arrival.
See,
but like, you know, we gotta see season 2 because like they usually do this. You know, season 1 is good, and then season 2 is shit.
It's also the fact that I want to see these properties be reconquered, which is why I'm also have some faith in the upcoming Transformers movie, which is supposed to focus, as I always say, on the Black and the Latino community, and is therefore named Rise of the Beasts.
Arch.
Unironically, it's the name. Don't look at me like that, V. Don't look at me.
Arch.
Don't look at me like that. It's true. It's called the Rise of the Beast. Look at it.
Yeah, but like, what does the Latino community have to do with it?
Oh, no. The director said that it was focused on the Black and Latino community.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Focused on the struggles on the Black and Latino community.
It's a little bit problematic. Yeah, I got to watch Transformers: Rise of the Beast, and I'm thinking the struggle of the Latino community.
Yep. I made a tweet about it when it came out. I can't find the article right now, but literally it was an interview. It's like, oh yeah, we took a great deal of inspiration from the struggles of the Black and Latino communities, like Rise of the Beasts, focused on Black and Latino culture.
You know, do you think that Disney will remake Tarzan anytime soon?
No, they'll remake Tarzan as an explicitly anti-woke thing in like 15 years' time.
I think that they will remake Tarzan and they will make Jane Black.
No, because it's too racist a setting, straight up. If they did that, you know everyone would be like, Black Jane likey that monkey dong.
You know that Muhammad Ali actually had an interview and he said it's like, Black people have been living in the jungle for quite a while, and yet no one managed to talk to animals. This just shows the hubris of the white man, thinking that he can do everything better.
That's true, I suppose. But like, I want to see these things reconquered, and I hope Rise of the Beasts is good because Bumblebee was pretty okay, everything considered. But I do also see your point. Like, everything is a sequel now, or everything is an established IP. Like, there's Dune Part 2, like John Wick 4, like, Jesus.
Yeah, do this. Okay, go to Best Movies 2016 or whatever, right? And you're going to see so many original stuff. And then go to Best Movies 2022. You will not see more than 2 maybe originals. Everything is a sequel, a spin-off, a remake, a reimagining.
Yep, and this has been a problem for quite some time as well. Like, this is not a new issue. This has been going for a while.
So you're telling me because I want to circle back a little bit. You're telling me that a live adaptation where Tarzan takes the black woman Jane and swings around the vines and goes, you're saying it's not for a modern audience?
I don't think so, no.
I want to see that so bad now.
And even like in 2016, you've still got a lot of shit. Like you've got Star Trek, like the second Star Trek movie, Doctor Strange, like the 50th Marvel movie, Rogue One, another Star Wars movie. Like honestly, you've got to go back to like 2000 if you want to find like the proper age of originality, and maybe even earlier than that.
But actually, they did do Mowgli. Mowgli talks to animals, and they did do that.
Yeah, but Mowgli also like almost gets eaten by a snake. It's a little bit disgusting.
Well, you gotta appreciate, the Vor community over there.
I don't. I legit
that is
don't.
the Hypno community as well. It's like two communities were appeased.
I do hope they cancel the Indiana Jones movie though, because it looks ass, and I don't want them to focus more on Star Wars, but.
How old is Harrison?
Old.
I mean, can you even imagine him in any other position than maybe the mentor?
Well, I'll just imagine him into an early grave, I guess.
Early retirement.
That's cruel, Vee.
It is
80.
The thing with Indiana Jones is that I remember many women like that movie because of Harrison Ford, but again, like he was young back then.
To be fair, Harrison Ford looked old when he was young. So he doesn't change that much. Like, he can still do it, more or less.
Apparently, they also canceled another Star Wars trilogy.
They've been canceling a lot of stupid stuff, and putting a lot of stuff on hold as well, or like they don't know when it'll come out, etc.
Yeah, they are trying to bring Disney back. I'm really curious if they're going to actually do something in like 5 years, because that's how long it takes for us to actually see the results of this. Because like the movies that are coming out now have been greenlit by several months or years, and before they're being announced. So it's going to take a while to see if they're going to unwokeify the movie industry.
Well, they are. They definitely are. But again, as you say, it will take quite a long time for us to actually see the results of that dewokification. Though I think we're already seeing some of the start. Like it's already it's not going to be and they're not woke anymore. It is going to be a very slow transition, and I think we've already entered into that slow transition.
I will believe it when I see video games in the West with beautiful women.
Mark99 says, V, Call of Duty also removed the OK hand symbol. Very progressive.
I did not know that. But it is interesting, right? Because like on the left, you have like the people who remove even the smallest gesture and there is no backlash, right? And on the right, if you complain about even like the tiniest thing, like the casting of Ariel or whatever, they freak out.
They do. Because it is one rule for thee and one for me. Well, it is, like, Dev is correct on this. Like, if it threatens the church, it is bad no matter what. But if it serves the church, it is good no matter what. That is the entirety of their dogma. Nice and simple.
Yeah, that is accurate.
Glow in the Dark says, I prefer natural food over overly processed food, and Netflix Korea is actually good, or better than the West. That's true. The Kingdom was not bad either. The Kingdom was pretty good.
Why aren't they making a sequel to it? Like, they made a movie.
Probably didn't. It probably didn't earn as much money as they figured it would, I guess.
I think like it has like 2 seasons and a movie. I was waiting for like the next season, but they never did it. It was really good though. I loved it. It was so fucking brutal.
Mark Shame says, I heard magical girls and tentacles go together in Japanese animations. Occasionally they do, yes. They go together very well.
I don't think Sailor Moon ever had tentacles.
Tonushi says, remember when a woman was unable to bear children, she wasn't really a woman? The left has achieved this level. They have. Unironically so. Mark James says, funny thing on the Chaos Dwarves trailer, one person commented that the Alliance seems to not have a chance against Chaos. My reply, should we tell? The goddamn Chaos Dwarves. I am tempted, because I do love the Chaos Dwarves, but I am just soured on the Total War currently. It's just because it has become too formulaic for me. I'm not into it anymore.
I kind of like the first one because like all the races had like their own quests and they were a little bit more original. I think, and you had like these world events, and they kind of give away. They gave up on that, didn't they?
Pretty much. It's just the same thing now, again and again and again.
Oh, they are making Kingdom Season 3, and that's interesting.
Cosvex says, Disney destroyed the EU legends that would have given them easy money with decades of self-contained stories, but get woke, go broke. Ah, yes, I did love the part where that goddamn woman was like, oh, you know, it's really hard to do Star Wars because we don't have like a massive lore to touch upon. I was like, oh god, yeah, you don't, because you destroyed it all.
I heard people say, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but they have said that they don't own the rights to the expanded universe.
Well, they would to an extent. Well, I don't know the legalities of it, but Mark James says, Rogue One felt like Star Wars junk food. The story felt like the writers just played a game of rebellion and called that the script. I can see where you're coming from, but honestly, the thing is, I kinda like that. Like, I don't mind the occasional shot of junk food. Just give me a nice, self-contained, like, good versus evil story, where the evil guys eventually lose and the good guys eventually win, and I'll be like, okay, cool. And then I'll leave the theater, and we never need to speak of this again. Like, I'll be happy, you'll be happy, everyone's happy. Yeah, it's like a shameful back alley blowjob one evening. Like, you don't need to revisit this. It's not a cherished memory or anything.
Kind of like every single kids show now made by Disney is morally gray. Like they don't have like the good versus bad, do they?
Well,
like look at what was it, the one with the Sleeping Beauty, right? Well, actually, the evil witch is not really evil. Like she had her wings cut by the evil humans, and now like she cursed it, but like she regrets it, and you know like now she's like a mother. Like she's not really the evil one. Frozen, the same. Well, actually, the Prince Charming isn't really charming. Like he's actually evil. You know, we lied to you the whole time, and real love isn't between a man and a woman, but it's between two sisters.
it's because nothing gets to be evil anymore, because I guess it scares people. Like, we don't have good kid shows anymore. Like, they don't exist. It's like, back in the day, kid shows talked about stuff like war and shit, large-scale conflict. Like, again, the Biker Mice from Mars is my perfect example of this, because each one of the characters was disabled. Like, you want to talk about good, positive, disabled representation? Like, the big guy, the leader mouse, got his arm torn off by an alien monster. Like, the cool guy with the glasses had his retina burned out of his skull. Like, even Mikey, like the energetic young kid, had half his skull blasted away by a laser weapon.
I mean, if you look at the story tales that exist in folklore and like the grandmother used to tell to the child, like Cinderella had the step sisters, like they had their knee cut off. No, sorry, not their knee, their foot cut off to fit in the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Hansel and Gretel, they burned the witch alive. Little Red Riding Hood, it's actually a story telling women to be careful about rape. Like the wolf actually rapes Riding Hood in the first stories. Like you can go on Wikipedia and you can find out about this. And the moral of the story is to teach girls to be careful about talking to strangers. Like they were twisted, is what I'm trying to say. These were stories that you would tell to 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds.
But no more warning stories.
Well, they have like different warning stories, I guess.
Kazek says, also Rogue One is literally based off a book series from the extended universe of Star Wars. Well, probably. And Glow in the Dark says, people have argued, but babies are possible, so birthing person is still usable if you listen to them. Alright, well, it is just about time to begin wrapping up, and we did finish, I believe, the last of the Super Chats there, so, unless you have anything else to add there at the end, V?
No.
Nah, he says.
No.
Nah, he says. Okay, well, in that case, I'll redirect to the Battletron, which will start in just a few minutes. And thank you all very much for watching, and for your very generous donations and everything. And what we'll do is, okay, I'll set up some kind of, like, goal thingy for the scary game, in case, I don't know why people would want to watch me playing a goddamn horror game, but we can do kind of like the thing they do over in Colin's channel, where it's like a donation goal or something. We'll consider that. Plus, it's a nice way for me to milk you.
But I would want to see you play Dead Space. So, like, if you finish Resident Evil 4, you should start another one for Dead Space.
We will see. We will see. Until then, have a good day.